Today I will show you how to make a mini sweater for your Christmas tree. First, rotate the racking handle to its upper position. Raise 18 needles on the front bed of the machine, 9 on the left and 9 on the right side of the center. Place the edge springs on the last working needles. Now raise the opposite 18 needles on the back bed of the machine. Use the orange ruler and arrange the needles in 1-to-1 division. Then move the edge springs on the last working needles. Now set both locks to N and the stitch size to 2. Insert the orange strippers and take the main yarn. I'm using 2 strands of acrylic yarn. Knit 1 row, set both locks to CX and increase the stitch size to 3. Now knit 2 rows. Set both locks to N and increase the stitch size to 4. Now knit 1 row to finish the cast on. Knit 4 rows with the same settings to make the rip. Set the front lock to N and increase the stitch size to 5. Then set the back lock to GX. Remove the orange strippers and insert the black ones. Remove the edge springs and transfer all stitches to the needles on the front bed. Then place the edge springs on the last working needles and put all needles on the back bed out of working position. Now knit 20 rows. Raise 1 empty needle on the opposite side of the lock and knit 1 row. Raise 1 needle on the right and knit 1 row. Continue raising needles until you have raised 5 needles on each side of the knitting. As always, I will leave the whole process. You may need to attach a weight to the knitting or just keep an eye on the last stitches. I was knitting without weight and I had to rehang the last stitches 2 times during these increases. The row counter must be at 10 rows. Now raise 15 needles on the left side of the machine and arrange them in 1-to-1 division. Move the edge spring on the last working needle and knit 1 row. Raise the rest of these 15 needles and tap on them several times to tighten the yarn. Before knitting the row, raise 15 needles on the right side and arrange them in 1-to-1 division. Move the right edge spring and knit 1 row. Raise the rest of the needles and tap on them to tighten the yarn. Now knit 12 rows. Tap on the foot of the needles when knitting the first few rows. Clear the row counter and slightly raise 4 or 6 needles in the center of the front bed. Use the double-eye bodkin tool and sew off those 4 or 6 stitches on waste yarn. Lower the front bed, drop the tails of the waste yarn between the beds and attach a weight in the center. Now raise 2 of the needles so they are arranged in 1-to-1 division as shown in the video. Knit 1 row, raise the rest of the needles and tap on them to tighten the yarn. Now knit 13 rows. Move the right edge spring to the left, take the yarn from the lock and cast off 15 stitches on the right side. Transfer the rightmost stitch on the adjacent needle, then raise it all the way and wrap the yarn around it. You may attach a weight to the knitting to keep the stitches in place while making the cast-off. Transfer the last stitch to the adjacent needle. It should have 2 stitches in its hook. Then close the latch and put the edge spring on it. Put all empty needles out of working position and knit 1 row. Now move the left edge spring to the right and repeat the same procedure. You have to cast off 15 stitches using the yarn from the lock. This time I have a weight attached to the knitting, so it's easier to make the cast off. All the stitches are staying in their places. Transfer the last stitch to the needle with the edge spring, then put all empty needles out of working position and knit 1 row. Clear the row counter. Move the leftmost stitch 1 needle in and knit 1 row. Now move the rightmost stitch 1 needle in and knit 1 row. You have to decrease a total of 10 needles, 5 on the left and 5 on the right side. Each time I'm moving the edge spring on the last working needle for safety. Don't forget to put the empty needles out of working position. If you make this sweater, I will be happy if you send me a photo on my Facebook page or my email. Also, don't forget to support me by liking the video. You must have 18 needles in working position just as in the beginning, and the row counter must be at 10 rows. Now knit 20 rows without changing the settings on the locks. Clear the row counter and decrease the stitch size to 4. Set the back lock to end and remove the black strippers and insert the orange ones. Move the edge springs and transfer the stitches in 1-to-1 division for knitting a rip. Then place the edge springs back on the last working needles. Knit 4 rows of the rip. Clear the row counter and increase the stitch size to 6 on both sides of the lock. Now transfer all stitches to the needles on the front bed. Make sure all 18 needles on the back bed are in working position. Rotate the racking handle to its lowest position and knit 1 row. Lower the front bed and make a zigzag latch cast off. Now take off the weight and remove the knitting from the machine. It should look like this. Fold it in half so the right side is inside, then use the yarn tails to sew both sides or sew it using the mattress stitch. Finally, use a crochet hook and make a chain around the opening. Now it should look like this. I can remove the waste yarn. Now I will share a bonus idea from my friend Galaxy Tree. Take a thin metal wire and fold it in half. Another tip, if you are using pliers, it will be easier. Now shape the wire as shown in the video to make a small hanger. The sweater will look very cute with the hanger. And that is the final result. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Have a nice day and see you in my next video.